Hello, welcome to the Pursuit of Excellence with me, Anthony Beirudi. Need your help real quick. If you like the videos, hit the thumbs up button right below, and please subscribe to get access to our latest interviews. Hit the subscribe button right there. Also, we'd love to hear from you about our interviews. In the comment section, tell us who you want us to interview or what you thought about the whole thing. Without further ado, enjoy the interview. We're very excited today to be joined by Louise Forsyth, Gonzaga women's basketball player, former Brookswood graduate, and multiple provincial champion. Thank you very much for joining us, Louise.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. I know originally you were a track person. You'd played other sports. What got you started with sport, and then how did it transition into basketball?
Yeah, I definitely started with track and field and cross country. Probably since like elementary school, like grade 1, grade 2, started running, and I loved running. And then when I got to about same age, grade 2, grade 3, my parents put me in like basketball camps. They both played basketball, and yeah, I just fell in love with the game and continued with both sports all the way through to grade 12, and then chose to play basketball in years.
Yeah, for sure. So when you got to Brookswood, obviously Brookswood's a basketball place. It's where people take basketball very seriously. What was it like kind of getting the culture of handling, dealing with people like Neil and Chris and kind of the basketball consumption aspect of it?
Yeah, so I came in as a grade 8. I didn't really know a lot of people in Langley. We moved to Langley, and my parents knew that Brookswood had a good basketball program. So I started off in the summer sessions. We would run hills, and I did track and field and cross country. So I fit in pretty well and could do most of the drills that the older girls could do. So Mr. Brown just put me on the senior team. I just stayed with them since as a grade 8, and I just loved it. They were all about basketball. There's open gyms every morning, and I was right there every morning with them and just trying to copy what the older girls were doing.
Yeah, talking to Neil, he says you're one of the most dedicated athletes he's ever had at Brookswood, and you took it very seriously, trying to get better all the time. Did that come from your parents? Did that come just from looking around and seeing other people do it? Well, where did that kind of come from?
I think it definitely came from my parents. They both played university basketball, and they would always put me through drills, put me through individual workouts, and it came from them. And then also just seeing the really good players that were at Brookswood, like Jessie Brown, she's an amazing shooter, and just watching how she would shoot every day, and Taylor Jackson, and then having Ace come in too. They're all really good role models for me.
Yeah, for sure. So what was that like as a grade 8 playing senior? I mean, obviously the running you would have excelled at before you got started with the basketball, but as a basketball player, those kids were pretty advanced. What was it like coming in there as a grade 8 kid and having to kind of acclimate yourself to the older kids?
It was tough. They were, stronger than me, faster than me, had better moves. And Mr. Brown, he didn't take it easy on me. Even as a grade 8, he'd yell at me. And there would be, we'd play first string and second string in practice a lot, and I'd be on the second string, and I would be guarding people like Jessie Brown and Sid Williams, who's a really good athlete, and I would just kind of, get beat up every day, but have to pick myself up, come back the next day and play hard. So I think it really taught me that, and really taught me you can't get down on yourself. There's always another play and another opportunity.
Well, and also you gotta be able to take what they have as skill sets and add them to your game, right? And you're just gonna be better ahead of it. So, what was it like when you guys started putting together some teams? And I think it's a grade 9. You won your first provincial championship, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a pretty cool experience. What was that like?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a really good team. I think we beat. I can't remember now. Maybe it was Oak Bay or Mowat in the final.
Yeah, I think it was Oak Bay. Yeah.
Yes, it was really fun. I remember in the semifinal game we played Mowat, and I had some really good defensive possessions, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. So once you guys win that, and now you're going into grade 10, so you're expected to actually be a big time contributor by the time you're in grade 10, and people are actually relying on you to do stuff. But you also have some extraordinary players on your team, such as Ace and some other good players. So from a mindset standpoint of just being excited to be on the team to actually having to do a big contribution to the team, what were some of the things, maybe necessarily in the off season trying to get ready for the season, or maybe in your preseason trying to get your mind right so that you could actually make a huge contribution?
Yeah, definitely. So in grade 9, I was more of like a role player on that team, that Brookswood team. And then in that summer, I played Team DC, and I made the junior, I can't remember what it was, one of the Canada teams. And I came out thinking like, okay, now I'm gonna be able to contribute, be able to make a difference on the court for Brookswood. And I think I was definitely able to do that, definitely able to like come into a scoring position, especially because Ace and Taylor had a lot of the focus on them, that I was able to come in and make shots and be like a big contributor.
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the cool things about being on that team and having a Kayla is somebody with your height actually got to play a little bit on the perimeter, which most people your height don't actually get that many opportunities on the perimeter. So you would have had to have put in a lot of time on your shooting. What type of like a shooting regimen did you have when you were in high school? Like, were you every morning? Did you spend after school? What was the shooting like that you had to work on?
Yeah, I think I was pretty consistent, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every morning in the gym. And Mr. Brown would sit in his chair and watch me, and then I go up to him, ask him for more drills, and then just keep working on it, and a lot of just like repetitive shots.
Yeah, just mass volume. You're just getting them up. You just quantity 5 days a week, every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too many people are willing to do that, so that's tough. Now, when did you start adding weights to your program? Were you a big weight person early, or did you kind of come later in the program?
I think weights were pretty early on. We had a PE class, like high performance girls PE, and Mr. Brown was the teacher for that. And it was like whole basketball team would be in it. And I remember we would do bench press, like the tests. And there was like a lot of improvement from my grade 9 to grade 10 year. We do like 80 pounds, as many reps as you could do. And I definitely got stronger, got bigger. And I think like there was a lot of improvement through that. And then going into my grade 11 year, I started going to like a separate gym, and really making that one of the focuses in my training was to get stronger.
Yeah, and so like when you say that you went to a separate gym and you started focusing on it, what type of things were they putting you through that actually helped you, that you noticed as a big improvement point?
One of the things was with Basketball Canada, there was like a functional mobility test, and I didn't do so good on it the first time, but making sure that like every rep I had good form. I was like in the bench press, you would do it and you would just kind of do it for reps. But this time I would make sure that I got like all the way down on my bench press. And then my squat too, that I was squatting with good form, and like that everything was right.
Yeah, so what type of squat numbers are we talking about?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to think back then. We don't do it so much now here at Gonzaga, but.
So let's talk about that. So what on a weights, we'll get back to your last couple of years of high school, but from a weight standpoint at Gonzaga, what do they do? I know off-season training and physical training is a big deal at the next level, especially in the D1 level. What type of stuff are they doing? There's no squats involved?
There are squats, but we go more for, we don't put on a lot of heavy weight here at Gonzaga. We go more for same thing like functional mobility. We go 3 times a week right now. I think we'll go 4 times a week pretty soon. And yeah, we really focus on form, having good form, good technique, and trying to be like quick and fast with all the movements that we do as well.
Absolutely. So those kids are there. You go in and you guys win your 3rd championship in a row, and then they're all gone. And you're there, and you've got there is some good players your age and the year below, but it's not the same thing. You definitely don't have the expectations of winning the whole thing, but you guys are still very good. We ended up, I remember playing you that year with one of our teams, and the ball was coming to you all the time. So you had to be ready to score all the time, and you were used very effectively. I mean, there was very few inefficiencies in your guys' offense. So mentally, that's got to be a big adjustment going from being a contributor and a go-to player, but not the go-to player, to now being in charge of the entire thing. What was that? Talk a little bit about the mental aspect of that.
Yeah, going to my senior year is definitely tough. We lost our point guard Ace, and it was harder now, leading up to that, I'd run down the floor and Ace would be able to throw that baseball pass. So I definitely had to work on my guard skills more. I wasn't just, running and cutting. I had to handle the ball, and I had to be, able to score against anybody from every position. And there were times where I thought like people were fouling me or holding me, or like they just wouldn't let me get to the spot I wanted to get to on the floor. So I think that's where a lot of the strength training did help. Was in that senior year of my high school career. And yeah.
Well, your team actually did okay, and then you also won Player of the Year. So there was we had a vote, the coaches vote, and you ended up winning Player of the Year. There was actually quite a few good players your age, so that had to be a pretty cool experience for you to actually know that your team was recognized, and you were recognized as well. What did you think of that?
I thought that was like really meaningful to me. I know they come out with that list every year in grade 10. I wasn't on that top 15 list, and I saw other players in my class on that list, and I was like, dang, like I think I'm one of the best players. Kind of had that in my mind, and I think that really like solidified a lot of the hard work that I put in, and that I had improved quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Now you graduated and you ended up deciding you want to go to Gonzaga. What gave you would have had multiple options. Gonzaga was a very good team before you got there. What kind of made you go through the process and realize that Gonzaga was the right spot for you?
So that September 1st of your junior year, they can start contacting you, and the assistant coach from Gonzaga contacted me like that very first day, and I knew that they really liked me and that they were they're like passionate about me and believed in me as a player. And then just looking at like the Gonzaga program on the men's and women's side, they've had, a lot of success, and especially a lot of success with other international players. And I knew that, they were like a quality, solid program, and that they have like good academics, like a small class size, the programs that I wanted. And then they were also, they just like love basketball here in Spokane. And I don't think like the fan atmosphere for the men and the women, I don't think it's like it exists in many other schools here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone talks about the men's program having a huge draw, but the women's also has massive draws. What was it like going to your first game and seeing like the entire place full when you guys played somebody big?
It's super cool. There's a lot of fans. They like fill the stadium and they sell out, and it is really awesome to be able to come out and see all those people cheering for us, and that they're like so passionate. And a lot of our fans, like they know us. They'll say hi to us in the community. So it's just like really cool.
So you went from playing 40 minutes as a senior in high school to getting limited minutes for probably the first time in your life, outside of maybe playing on a Canadian national team. That had to play an impact on you and kind of mess with your mental mindset. What was it like having to adjust from literally, and it wasn't like 38 and a half minutes, it was 40 minutes down to a lot less. What made the difference for you?
I think it's definitely a challenge. So my freshman year, 2 weeks in, I had a foot injury. I had a stress fracture in my foot. So that was hard to come back to, especially trying to come in the middle of the season and be able to like learn the plays, get my feel for how the game is, and then also just like catch the speed and the pace of the game. So I think I definitely struggled with that. And then also coming off the bench and playing behind some like really great players. It's definitely tough. Definitely like a humbling experience, and be like realizing, you're not the best player anymore. You have to play your role. But I think also like playing at Brookswood with those really good teams, I was a little bit like used to that. I could, I didn't get too hard on myself. I kept working, kept coming into the gym on my own. So I think it's just a big adjustment. And like every time you move up from like high school to Canada to Gonzaga, it's just like a big jump in like the level of play. So it takes time.
Yeah, I mean, you've been there for a while now, so you're obviously a lot more comfortable, and you feel like you're probably going to make a solid impact on your team this year. What are some of the things that you've had to do to prep yourself to get ready for this opportunity?
This season, I think I really have to focus on staying healthy, taking care of my body, and making sure that like my fitness, conditioning, quickness is all there. I know I can get a little too focused on one thing or another. If it's like, oh, I have a bad shooting practice, I can't focus on that. I have to move on, and just being able to step into any role that the team wants me to step into and be ready to play when the time comes.
Absolutely. What position are you playing now down there?
I'm going to play shooting guard. Yeah.
Right. So now you got the ball in your hands quite a bit. You're going to have to, your handles is definitely taken to the next level. It's funny, we talk to kids about if you can always move up a position, down a position to more of a guard and add the skill sets that you need. If you ever go to a higher position, then you've got more skills as opposed to less skills. Like even at Gonzaga, if you look at a Kelly Olynyk, when he got there as a guard, he wasn't that good. But when they put him as a power forward, now he had guard skills as a power forward, and he made a huge impact on the team. And so what's that like for you? Now you played all those games in high school, your program obviously shot a lot of threes at Brookswood, and you now have the skills ready to actually make a contribution. That's got to feel pretty good, no?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It definitely feels good having confidence shooting the ball. I know at this level, if you're not, a threat from the 3-point line, a lot of teams, they'll sag off of you, and it just like ruins your team's offense. Like you have to have people that can shoot on the perimeter and that are a threat from out there. So I think that's one of the best parts of my game is being able to shoot the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. So you played in some big games last year. Your team has obviously played top-level teams. What was one or two of the games where you played since you got to Gonzaga and you were like looking around and you're like, wait a second, this is a pretty big deal here. Did you have any of those moments?
So when we played Stanford at home my sophomore year, it was a really good game. We ended up winning in front of a sold-out crowd. And I think after that game, we got ranked in the top 20 for the first time in a couple seasons, and that was big for us. And it was pretty cool to be like, wow, we actually beat Stanford at home in the Kennel with, a sold-out stadium. That was probably one of my best moments here at Gonzaga.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what an unbelievable experience. I mean, Stanford's been one of the top schools in the country forever, and you guys get to go play them. I remember when you guys won that game. That was cool. Just reading and watching the box score was fun for me that day. So anyway, you kind of got COVID stuff going on down there, but I think they still kind of just grind through it. What's been the difference so far in getting ready for this season with all the differences? Have you guys been tested a lot? What's it like? What's it like, the adjustments that you guys have had to make?
So as an international student, I had to quarantine by myself for 2 weeks. So that was definitely, an interesting experience, something I can draw on maybe for the rest of my life. So I was just like in a dorm alone. I had to order food in. I wasn't allowed to be with my teammates, be in the gym, and I could just like work out by myself or go outside, go to the track. So I think that was, it was more mental than physical. I would just, work out and try to eat healthy and do my best to stay in shape. But now there's still a lot of like restrictions on us. So we go to the gym and we get like our temperature checked and we get like screening for symptoms. We have to come in with a mask. And then on the court right now, we're allowed to have 5 people and a coach, and we're allowed to pass the ball to each other, but we have to stay 6 feet apart. So it's just different. You want to play, you want to be able to play one-on-one and run through different things and do contact drills, but it's just a little different right now.
Yeah, for sure. Do they expect for that to kind of come in soon? Do you expect that you will be able to play one-on-one and 2-on-2 soon, or are they not planning for that stuff?
I'm not sure. I think we have to wait for the NCAA to make that decision. And also it depends on like the state of Washington if we go into phase 3 or not.
So now what are you going to graduate with when you're finished at Gonzaga?
I'm going to graduate with a degree in biology.
Oh, cool. So you didn't take the easy stuff. You went hard there.
Yeah, I went hard. I'm doing like a major in biology and then a minor in environmental studies. So I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet, but yeah, I went for a tough one.
Yeah. So is our goal to try and play pro a little bit with basketball, or are we trying to get a job right away?
That's definitely the goal. If the opportunity is there to play overseas in Europe, I definitely would want to take it and play for, as long as I'm able to.
Yeah, for sure. So if you would go back in time and give a younger version of yourself a little bit of advice, what were some of the things you might say to yourself? Hey, maybe take a look at this, maybe, prep, or I mean, for you, it's probably the advice you're giving your sister. What type of stuff are you telling your sister? Hey, you need to make sure you do this or else you're not going to make it.
I'm definitely telling her to focus on fitness and conditioning, strength training, and then to just work on her skills and get in the gym as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, I think she probably already does all that stuff. she takes it pretty seriously. So you got that, and then if you could go back and look back at, when you were growing up, you still play as many sports as you could for a long time until you got into grade 11 and 12?
Yeah, I definitely play as many sports as I could. Yeah. Maybe focus on, like, if you can do track, I think doing track is really important and it's really good for you. Probably for, other sports too. I know there's a lot of track soccer players that, has really benefited them as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, it's been fantastic having you out. I think it'll be good for, we've got a bunch of kids that have grown up watching you play and they'll be tracking you this year. So hopefully you guys have a great season and hopefully you can stay healthy and have really show off all the skills that you've been working on. So it's very cool. I'm glad to see you're doing well and hopefully, you guys have a big season and they let everybody play a little bit this year.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for having me.
Gladly. Take care, Louise.
Bye.